Hey guys, welcome back. I just wanted to come on here and talk about a more serious subject. So this has nothing to do with all the fun stuff I've been doing, but more of the observations I have made in Kenya. All I want from this video is for you guys to see and experience the things that I luckily got to experience by going to these places because of Western media maybe having this persona on Africa and their living situation, what you see in media, how it's portrayed and what it actually is, and then how bad it actually can be. I knew nothing about all this stuff, and a lot of people also probably don't know anything about it, so I want to tell you guys, and please, please, please just take it into consideration and see if there's anything you can do to help, because this was mind-blowing. This experience was heartbreaking, yet it was my favorite port, and a lot of other people in the boat said this has been their favorite port because they're so happy, they're so welcoming, they're kind, and it's just a beautiful place. Kenya is a beautiful place. So the reason that I decided to make this video is because I was driving back from my safari, and it was quite a long drive. It was 4 hours, and I saw a lot. I got to drive through a lot of villages, see a lot of the local people and their day-to-day life. I also got to visit schools and villages, and this is what kind of sparked my interest to do this, and it was weighing heavy on my heart that this is something I need to do, even if it is kind of hard and really heavy. This is a lot to take in, and I just hope you guys can find it in your heart to do something about it and do something about the privilege that you have that others don't. So how I'm going to construct this video is by placing in clips that I videoed along the way, my journeys back to the boat, but there wasn't everything that I could capture because I waited till like the last day to start filming because I was seeing these things and I wanted to do something about it, but I didn't find the idea until I got back from the safari. So I got as much as I could for you guys, and I hope you can kind of see and experience this yourself. So we know that poverty is very prevalent in Africa, and the wage gap between the rich and poor is extreme. And there's no like middle class, it's just the rich and the poor, and it is a huge difference. Africa also deals with a lot of things like inequality and corruption. Corruption is a big deal with their government in Africa. There was a lot of stories that I wish I could tell, but I can't quite tell them the right way, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths. But the government is very corrupted, and people are easily paid off, which leads to even more sad situations. And something that you can see while traveling, or I'm sure of what you've heard, is the sanitation and the water safety. Their water is very unsafe, so that is cause to a lot of kids, women, men getting very sick because of these waters being filled with pollution, waste, and all these upsetting things. They struggle with lack of access to education, so there's a lot of people who aren't properly educated and do not have the resources to be able to afford education. And then there is a lack of access to healthcare, and you can obviously probably put together why that is no good for the people of Africa. And a personal experience that was really shocking to me that I never really heard about, but when it happened to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is insanely heartbreaking, was at each port we have people kind of set up outside who are selling stuff, and it's like that wooden elephant back there, and I have a stone elephant. I have a semester at Seaboard, which, let me show you how talented these people are. They hand carved this semester at Seaboard, and it is amazing. It has the big 5 on it. It is beautiful. They are so innovative, creative, and good at what they do. But okay, let's go back to what I was saying before. Is I was outside the port and I had ran out of shillings, so I ran out of their currency, and I told them I couldn't buy anything else from them because I had spent all my money. And they asked if I had any food or if I had any deodorant, shampoo, necessities, anything that I was willing to trade, t-shirts. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, that seems not fair at all, because these are just easy necessities that we pick up every single day that we don't think twice about. We don't struggle to get, and we have the money to get. And when I did that, and I brought down just a huge bag full of all of the mosquito nets and bug spray, it was like they were happy. And even especially pencils. They really, really wanted pencils to give to their kids to learn, to be educated and get tools in order to further their knowledge. And that was really shocking to me. Pencils were a big one. They asked for bags, like little cheap reusable bags, so they could give their kids for school. And that was another one that I was like, whoa, like I thought you just got that when you go to school. I don't know. But so sad, so heartbreaking. I gave them almost all my pencils and now I have nothing left, but they really enjoyed it and they loved it. They were so happy, so grateful for the necessities. So first porting into Kenya, we noticed that there was a lot of people who were panhandling in a sense, but instead of asking for money, they were asking for food. And that was so hard to see because you feel like, when someone asks for money, most of the time you're like, oh, whatever, you might give them some change. But when someone's asking for food and they have their malnourished kid in their hand, it is like the most unreal and saddening thing. It's just heartbreaking. There's children just walking up to you and asking you, please, can I just, have food. And I luckily had extra food on the boat that I could bring back out. But gosh, I couldn't imagine there were so many that you wouldn't even be able to provide for everyone who was asking. And just the fact that they just needed food was enough to be like, wow, this is so different than what I'm used to. We saw houses that were not safely structured, and these houses were made out of things like scraps from metal, like metal sheets, and a lot of houses made out of mud and cow poop. They would use the cow poop to kind of structure the house and keep it intact. And there was just a lot of these huts just made out of mud that people were living in. And I'm not sure how many people were living in, but I'm assuming it was families of however many. While driving past the cities, lots of people just laying on the ground or up really, really late. Like I was up till like 2 a.m. one night and there was people just hundreds and hundreds of people walking, and I could only assume it's because maybe they didn't have somewhere to go. I don't know if that's fully true, but either way, it's uncommon, and it's got to be draining to their bodies because it's extremely hot out there. And in the middle of the night when I saw these people walking, I also saw a ton of people with their booths set up, still selling stuff at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. These people are still working just for the money they can get to provide for their families and to just live. A lot of these people live day to day. They don't think about tomorrow or next week or anything. They have to live day to day because the money they get from that day is enough just to feed them, just to feed their family. And like one of the interports told us is that sometimes they get enough money, which is equivalent to like $1 in the US, and it's enough to just feed the house and feed the house off of like one piece of bread. And so it's sad to see how bad it can get in a place that there is a lot of tourists who come and go, and kind of like we look at them and it's like, okay, but at the end of the day, we get to go back to like our safe environment, our fresh water, our clean water, our clean beds, we don't worry about anything. So to them, I just like, it's hard coming into their environment because I feel wrong. I feel wrong coming and looking at them in like a educational way of like, this is how life is over here, and feeling like I'm helpless to them, like I can't help them, like I said before, it makes me feel wrong, like I'm doing the wrong thing because I am almost vacationing in their place where they are struggling. And like more on the topic of like kids in Kenya, I would see a lot of kids alone, walking alone, a lot of them by themselves, maybe the trust of the community, maybe it's not a safety hazard for kids walking around, but late at night I would see them by themselves during the day with no parent or guardian around them. And then like even passing like soccer fields or where kids go, playgrounds, there was like sticks that were made into like a soccer goal, and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, but they're so creative, and it's cool to see that they are still having so much fun in an environment that we may not consider the most fun environment to be in. I also saw like younger girls carrying like big buckets of buckets full of water on their heads late at night, just bringing them back and just thinking like, oh my goodness, like this just is so crazy. You know what I mean? It just seems like, you know, their childhood's being taken away by having to worry about their family and worry about how they're going to take care of their family at such a young age. And I don't know how much this happens, but I did see what looked to be like two young girls, maybe 15 or 14, who are pregnant or who have kids, and just maybe it's not as common. Crazy to think that like kids are being brought up into an area where they also have to fend for themselves. They also have to provide for their family and become adults at such a young age. And again, like I was saying before, sanitation within Kenya is hard to find in some places because of the waste management. Not everywhere has waste management, and I didn't even like think about this because in the US we have never had to worry about this, or most people do not have to worry about this back in the US because it is something we grew up on. We don't think about it, nor do we think about other people having to struggle with this. And this was probably the worst thing that I heard, and it was what I learned in Bostaka, which is on my vlog when we went to Bostaka for one of my field classes. And what they told us there was how they struggle in that certain village really bad with waste management because they do not have a system at all. And with that being said, they have a problem with people getting very, very sick because people are dumping their waste into the waters, and they're also dumping their waste onto the land that everyone lives. So, I mean, bathroom waste, trash waste, food waste, everything's being dropped in the village, just everywhere. And another thing with them dumping it in the rivers is there's a lot of people there who rely on fishing. And now that the waste is being dumped into the waters, fish are dying. So it's making it harder on the fishermen to be able to provide for their family, get the food that they need to bring back home, not only for their family, but also for the community. And this is hurting their business and their life because these fish, if they are able to get fish, are either unsanitary and not safe to eat, or they're dead. It is polluting the water and hurting the people because through these fish, people are getting diseases and sicknesses because of the water being so contaminated, and it is killing people, hurting people, killing children and women, wives, families. So I know that that was a lot to take in, and it was a lot all at once. I wish I could just keep going on and tell you guys more about why you should care about this matter, because it is hard to see, it is hard to hear, but let me tell you, seeing it with your own eyes is almost like you almost dissociate from being there because it doesn't seem real that this is something that happens to people. And I'm trying to change my perspective on, like, I went into it thinking, how are these people happy? Why are they so happy? They're singing, they're dancing, they're just laughing, making jokes. They're so happy, but they're in an environment that I don't find a happy place. And just taking that Western narrative and Western thinking and just realizing this is their life and this is what all they know. So don't make something so negative when it's not always such a negative thing, because these people have dealt with this. This is normal to them, and it's not as sad to them as is probably to us. But I still think that there is help needed, and your help can be done to help these communities in order to get them more in healthy and safe environments and situations. So I beg you just to please, even if it's $1, donate to these places so that you can make a change, so that your money is going to something that is changing other people's lives. This goes to education for children, it goes to sanitation, it goes to the helping of the villages, helping of Kenya, the women, the men, the adults. The livelihoods of all these people could be improved by just the help of all you guys. And I hope you take it into consideration, because your impact is a big impact. Small impacts make a huge impact. So really think about it and just do what you feel like in your heart is right. Because you are in a lucky enough position to know that $1 might not mean a lot to you, but it could mean a lot to somebody else. So I will put some links in my description below so that you can donate to what you feel like is what you're more passionate about and what you want to help in Kenya. The first place I have is a World Food Program place that provides food and services to people who are in need. And you can also look at all these people's mission statements and what they're doing and what they want to change and implement in these places and just where exactly your money is going. If you want to, everything is there in the link in the description. And the next one is KCDF, which helps the development of sustainability friendly environments and helps just all around the community. The last foundation I will be listing is Save the Children. I also encourage you to just go do your own research and look up other places if there's something else that you're passionate about and want to look more into and donate towards. So go do that if you would like. But thank you guys so much, and I hope that you loved this video as much as I did. It was on my heart, and I am just happy to finally get it out and share it with you guys. So if you guys like it, please leave a like and comment, and I will see you guys later in Cape Town. Bye!